What is the one thing that prevents you every time from achieving your goals? Why can't I ever achieve my desires? This poor confused girl says. Hi, this is Mahadeva, the Thunder Wizard, and I'm back. My apologies for being away for so long. As you can tell from my voice, I had a cold. I'm fine now, but it's just like the lingering, stuffiness effect. So I want to share something with you that I think is fundamentally important. I've seen this, for a while. I've seen it in myself, and I've seen it in people all the time. In recent times, I've seen it come up in people in my circle of influence. And I think it's absolutely essential that we understand this. In fact, this understanding of this one thing that creates that immovable block to things that you want in your life. In other words, there are people, myself included, who know exactly what they want, but they just can't accomplish it. Or they know exactly what they want and they just can't take the actions they know they need to take. Like it is so challenging for them that the thought of taking the actions, when they think about it, there's a block that comes up, and that they don't know what is stopping them. And it can be incredibly vexing. Like, people will off themselves over this, or they'll stay in unworkable, toxic situations because they just simply can't get past this one block of, being able to take some actions to give themselves what they want. Before we go any further, these links are here for a very important reason. The link here of thunderwizard.com. Remember that link. We'll talk about it at the end. The Interdimensional Revolution books and the Interdimensional Meditation course. Remember those links, because we'll come back to those things. Those are tools that are very, very helpful in accomplishing what we're going to talk about, which will give you the ability to overcome that one last immovable block between you and whatever it is. It doesn't matter what we're talking about. It's the same block, whether it's financial independence, whether it's emotional health, whether it's physical health, whether it's romantic relationships, whether it's your spiritual practice. There are things that you could be doing, very simple things you could be doing to make your spiritual practice better, but you just talk yourself out of it, and you can't even, when people ask, why don't you do that, you can't come up with an answer. There's a reason why. So first, what I want to tell you is that there is a reason why you can't get past this block. And you don't know what it is, maybe, but it seems so ridiculous, but that feeling you have that you really can't do that thing or those things is real. And if you don't understand what that one thing is that's causing that block, you may never get over it. But the good news is, if you do understand what that one thing is, then there are tools that you can use. I'm not the only game in town, but this thunderwizard.com, the Lightning Qigong, is created exactly for that purpose. When you know what that is, that tool will in fact empower you. The Interdimensional Meditation course is another different path that can do the same thing. I talk about it in my books, audiobooks.thunderwizard.com. All of those things that are tools. Courses.thunderwizard.com. All of these links here are designed to give you the power to take the actions that you need to do, but you just can't bring yourself to do it, and you can't figure out why. So I'm going to tell you exactly why it is so powerful. So the first thing I want to tell you is that, no, you're not crazy. There really is this immovable block that no amount of thinking, no amount of even meditation will give you the ability to move that. But if you understand what I'm going to tell you today, you might be able to move that stone out of the way. All right, so before we get into that, I first need to impress upon you, if you are in one of those stages, or if you've been in one of those stages for long periods of time where you know what you want, but you can't accomplish it, or sometimes you don't know what you want, same thing. The confusion about not knowing what I want is the same thing as knowing what you want but not being able to accomplish it. Understand that this is coming from an incredibly deep survival mechanism. It is a mechanism that goes beyond your conscious mind. It even goes beyond your unconscious mind. It even goes beyond your spirit. It is something that is deeply rooted into the survival instinct of us Homo sapiens. It goes back farther than, long before we became human. It goes back to the time when we were just monkeys. It is in your nervous system. It is that deeply embedded in you, this block. So you're not crazy. That feeling that I just can't get past it, and you tell yourself what a loser you are, what a wimp you are, everybody else does it, why can't you do it? The reason why you can't do it is because you're going up against something that is more powerful than you. So let me just make it clear to you that this block is more powerful than anything that you have access to. Okay? But if you have the knowledge and then you have the tools, you can overcome this block. So what is this block? So we have to go back into really ancient human history, because we are these spirit beings, but we're spirit beings inside of this physical body. And unfortunately, this physical body, when it comes to our physical existence, most of the time has, ultimate control, has a veto power. And that's what's happening is you're trying to go after something you know that you want, and there's a power greater than you inside of your body that is vetoing you. Nope, you can't do that. Nope, you can't take that action. You start to take those actions and then you sabotage it. Nope, you start to take those actions and then you just can't keep going. That veto power, nope, you just can't do it. So it comes from a survival mechanism in your nervous system. Bear in mind that your nervous system is completely responsible for your physical survival. When you are in a state where you are comfortable and you're aware that you're in a comfortable state, then you can launch into these great feats of your mind, your awareness, your intellect, even your spirituality. But if your nervous system is in a state of trauma and it thinks it's about to die, whether it's accurate or not, doesn't have to be accurate. That's the tough part. Your nervous system, if you have one of these blocks, your nervous system is in a state where it thinks it's going to die if you do this thing that all the rest of you knows that's what I have to do to survive in this world. This is what happens to people who are homeless. I know, I've got a brother, if he's still alive, who's homeless. And he has had multiple opportunities to get off the street, and he chose not to. And for a while it vexed me. Why? But now I know why. He has this block. His nervous system honestly believes that what he needs to do to survive, ironically, is to stay homeless. Now, he doesn't think that. In his mind, he thinks, I need to find a place to live. But if you give him a place to live, he'll end up homeless again. His nervous system will bring him right back on the street. You see it time and time again with homeless people. It's because they don't know that their nervous system is giving them false information. Their nervous system has these orders. Whatever it is, you're not homeless perhaps, but you can't find love. You can't stop watching video games. You can't stop watching porn. You can't stop doing drugs. You can't get out of your crappy job. You can't get out of your crappy relationship. You can't keep a good relationship. There's something that's blocking you from what you know you want, what you know you deserve, what you know is best for you. And you can't overcome it. Well, it's your nervous system. The problem is you can't rationalize with your nervous system. You can't sit your nervous system down and say, hey, you're working against me. Your nervous system is going to go, hey, F you. I believe I know what will help you to survive, and that's what we're going to do. And I'm going to veto everything that doesn't do what I irrationally tell you you have to do. That's what you're dealing with. You're dealing with a monster. You're dealing with a 2,000-pound gorilla who has everything completely backwards and is making all the decisions for you and vetoing all of the good decisions that you have. So, survival instinct is everything. You cannot talk your way out of it. No amount of feel-good seminars, no amount of, by the way, this is why the law of attraction is so popular. Because the law of attraction doesn't deal with it. That's why when you go to law of attraction seminars, they tell you, you don't have to take any action, you just have to feel. Well, I got news for you. You can sit on the edge of your bed and you can think yourself into an intense feeling, and it will not move your 2,000-pound gorilla nervous system. Your nervous system will say, yeah, you can have all those feelings, do whatever you want. But when it comes time for you to actually take action to change that, I'm going to stop you. People know that. They feel that. They know that they can't take action. That's why people love the law of attraction, because when you hear, Zohar the Magnificent channeling whatever she's channeling, she'll tell you, this isn't about taking action. It's about having the appropriate feeling. And when you have the appropriate feeling, then things will come to you. So it makes it very passive. And your nervous system loves that. Your nervous system says, oh yeah, no, sit on your ass. Don't do anything. Oh yeah, just sit on your ass and just do what I keep telling you to do. All right, so let's talk about it. So let's go back to caveman times. So back in caveman times, we didn't have what we have now. We have society, we have Social Security, we have disability, we have all these kinds of things that supposedly help us when we become incapable of taking care of ourselves. Back in caveman times, you didn't have that. You had one thing. You had your immediate family. That's it. You had your mom and your dad. If you were an infant, you pretty much had mom. Mom had you on her back in some little papoose or something like that, and she carried you around. And if you weren't literally physically connected to your mom, there was a good chance you were going to die. They put you on a rock and walk around the corner. Giant eagle, a ocelot, a bear, a wolf, a coyote. Something's going to come along and steal that baby and eat it. You, as a baby, you had no way of protecting yourself. Zero. You if you weren't strapped to mom, that's it. It was over. So your connection to mom was everything. Now, we're no different. Our society has evolved a little bit, and we don't, it's not as challenging, to live. Anyway, you know what I'm saying. We live in the modern society, so it's not the same kind of dangers. But your nervous system doesn't know that. So, what your mother teaches you about who you are during those, especially the first 2 years of your life. But, we'll expand it to the first 4 years of your life. That's why at age 5 you go to kindergarten, right? Because between ages 1 and 4, you still don't have an identity yet. Your identity is enmeshed with your mother completely. So what your mother teaches you about yourself, either overtly or unconsciously or energetically, whatever those teachings are, that's what your nervous system gets imprinted with. So if you look at those people who seem to be able to do whatever the heck they want, right? I mean, like if you've watched me, listen, I'm a train wreck. I'll be honest with you. I'm a freaking train wreck. I do not do life easily. I do not do life smoothly. I stumble through life and I bash into things, and I'm extremely, like I said, I'm a train wreck. But I do end up always going in the right direction. And the only reason I do that is because I have found ways to bypass my nervous system so that my nervous system no longer has veto control, but it steps in front of me. I talk about it all the time. It's called unconscious resistance. I just bumped into it. You guys know that I made this. I jumped off the cliff and I landed in Australia. And the truth is I didn't plan this out very well at all. And things could turn out like they did last time. Last time I showed up here, and after 6 months, which would have been about as long as I could have stayed, without getting kicked out, the pandemic happened, and I got to stay here for a totality of 2.5 years. So I did the same thing. I sort of jumped off the cliff. I got here, and then I started talking to lawyers and doing research and finding out, you got about 6 months before you're going to have to head back someplace else. It's time to go home. You don't have to. It's time to leave. You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here, right? So things could work out my way or not, but truth is that I bumped into it. But I'm embracing it and I'm going with it. I have the ability to do that. I have the ability to take actions that go completely against my survival instincts, that go completely against my nervous system, that go completely against my unconscious resistance. And the only reason is the two things I mentioned. I know what that block is, and I have these tools which give me the power to do the impossible. And that's what this channel is all about. Right, so you understand that now. So what happens normally? People who can go out there and do whatever the heck they want, they seem like they can just accomplish anything. They either have learned what I've learned and they do what I do, or they had just the perfect storm of perfect childhood programming, where they were already set up karmically and energetically, physically, to have that sense of self. And then they had a mother, and most likely a father and siblings, who imprinted them with an accurate survival instinct. If you have difficulty accomplishing what you want in life, you have an inaccurate survival instinct. You have a survival instinct, but it's been programmed inaccurately, and it's stopping you every time. So the people who don't have to do what I do, that means that they were programmed correctly. Their nervous system tells them to take risks. Their nervous system tells them they'll be okay no matter what. Their nervous system tells them the only thing that matters is that you exist and that you have feelings. You are unique and special and beautiful in the universe, and you are a being like no other, and nothing can stop you. They have this internal, what's called introjection. It's basically like a little avatar inside your unconscious mind, telling you it's a cheerleader, and it's your nervous system. And so if you're programmed perfectly, great. You don't ever need to go to Zohar the Magnificent. You don't have to go to any kind of self-help. You don't have to go to my channel. You'll just be perfectly programmed to walk through life. Most of us aren't that way. Some of us, if you're like me, I think a lot of people on my channel are a lot like me. Not only did they not get the full programming, they got the opposite programming, which is why I think this channel is so great for you. So, if your mother did not imprint into you, you are perfect exactly the way you are. You are a perfect, unique being that is the most beautiful, the most powerful, the most unbelievably beautiful being whose only job is to have awareness and to love yourself in all of your feelings. If your mother didn't do that, then you're going to have challenges. If she did do that, what that means is that then those first 4 years of life, you learn that the only thing you need to do to be valuable is exist. Now, of course, that will make you a little bit of a narcissist. That will make you kind of grandiose. So what will happen right around 4 years of age, you will start to be disciplined, meaning that you'll start getting more and more limitations on what you're allowed to do. This will create rage within you. You will have temper tantrums, but your mother will still give you the same message when you stand there with your hands on your hips and you say, "Mommy, I hate you because you won't give me a cookie." And Mommy says, "I know. I still love you. Come here. Give me a hug." And Mommy will hug you through it. She won't give you a cookie because she loves you, and she loves you unconditionally. And she knows that if she gives you a cookie every time you want it, you're going to end up, all kinds of bad things could happen. But if she knows to set boundaries, and then when you flip out, she still loves you. And no matter how much you hate her, she won't stop loving you. You get imprinted with this ability to know how to handle life. When you run into challenges in life, you will have an internal temper tantrum. And what will happen is you will have been trained to go, but that's okay. Mommy still loves me. I'm not getting what I want, but you know what? That's okay. I'm okay because of who I am. You'll pick yourself up. You'll move on. You'll accomplish that thing. You'll become. Let me give you another example. American Idol. I haven't watched it in years. I have no idea what it's like now. But I remember early on in American Idol, and I remember watching it, and you could predict who was going to win. Now, what would happen in just about every episode is that there would be one person who is an unbelievably phenomenal artist, like bringing people to tears, and they were just so amazing at their art, their craft, their singing voice, whatever it is that was about them. You would just be like, oh my God, that person's the best, that person's going to win. And that person would always lose. And you'd find out that one of the things that made that person such a great artist was that, their mom was an alcoholic or a drug addict, and they had to, take care of their mom as a little kid, and they ended up on the street, and they'd just gotten out of that, and they're trying, and American Idol is their path to getting out of, the craziness of their life and all of that. And so you root for them, but they fail every time. What will happen is, the final competition performance, they will screw something up. They'll forget one of the lines to the song, or they just won't be there, or something will happen. And almost every time the judges will be like, "I wanted to vote for you, but I just couldn't. You in this performance, this was the one. And, you can't just forget the song and stop halfway through." And the person will nod their head and go, "Yeah, I know." And there will be nobody in the audience. There will be no family member there rooting them on. They'll be all by themselves, and then they will sabotage their moment. That's their nervous system. Their nervous system is telling them, you're not allowed to succeed. You're not good enough. You don't deserve that. Right? That's because something happened. Their mother imprinted in them that they were only lovable if they were less than perfect, if they were a screw up, if they were an almost was, if they were, if you're mediocre. That was mine. That's what I was told. If you're mediocre, we'll love you. If you do anything beyond that, then we'll hate you. They didn't say that verbally, maybe once or twice, but that message got to me. And that was my block. It's still something I struggle with to this day. But on American Idol, the ones that won sometimes weren't the best. They might be good. They might be even great. They weren't phenomenal. They weren't, these geniuses. They weren't these once in a generation artists. They were just good. But they had the ability to work their ass off. They had the ability to overcome. They had the ability to take direction. And their parents were in the audience. Yay, go Johnny. And they would be mom and dad and brother and sister and aunt and uncle. And they'd all be there with the cards. It makes me emotional thinking about it, all that support. Go Johnny, you can do it. And Johnny would win. It wasn't because he was the best. It was because he knew that he deserved it, that he was worth it. His nervous system said, no, you can do it. That guy's better than you, but you know what? You can still win. You deserve this. You deserve, if you do this, you will be valuable. You'll even be more valuable to yourself if you accomplish your greatest desires. And he'd win. But the other guy, who, the amazing artist, we'd never hear from him again. And that's because his nervous system was imprinted with the message that, if you don't stay a loser and stay at home and take care of your alcoholic mother, you have no value. And what is the bottom line? Again, go back to, our caveman ancestors. That little baby has one goal. And that one goal is to make sure that mommy loves the heck out of that baby. Because if mommy if mommy's whole life isn't completely focused on loving and protecting and raising that baby, there's a chance that that baby will die. And she could just put him down on a rock, turn around, and before you know it, some eagle has swooped up and taken that baby somewhere and eaten it. So the reason why your nervous system tells you to do things that are absolutely opposite from the truth, don't go take that action. Don't go take that risk. Don't ask that girl out. Don't go on that job interview. Don't create that, that business. In my case, don't get on a plane and go to Australia. Don't do the thing that you want more than anything else in the world, because if you do, you won't be lovable. Mom won't love you. And remember, mom's love isn't just a nice idea. Mom's love to your nervous system is survival, and your nervous system is designed to make sure you survive at all costs. Your nervous system is created to do the impossible in order to keep you alive. That's why people who either have figured out how to work past their blocks or they've been so perfectly created, that's why they can accomplish seemingly unbelievable feats where they can overcome all obstacles to accomplish what they want, because their nervous system says, you will be loved by the mother when you accomplish this great feat of self-empowerment. If you do that, then you'll really be loved. So that's what's happening. We conflate love with survival. And you don't realize this. But what's happening is, if you have that block that whenever you bump up against it, you're about to accomplish something, even you listen to what I say and you're inspired and you go take that action. I can't tell you how many people I've run into like this. Let me give you one example. There's been a few examples of people who have worked with me and followed all of my directions, and sometimes they take a few of the risks and they go past their unconscious resistance, and then they'll fall back. And either I never hear from them again, or they will do something to sabotage their relationship with me, where I will say, listen, we're done in this life. But let me give you one example of somebody who came to me for a career counseling. One of the saddest, I'll never forget it. It was one of the saddest counseling sessions I ever had. And this person came to me, and what she wanted to be a dancer. Now, she had studied dance early in life, and then decided to stop pursuing that, have kids, etc., etc. And here she was now, approaching middle age. And she came to me, and she wanted to know what her sole desired career was. And I know how to get to that, so I asked her all the questions. I got to it, and we found out. She revealed that what she wanted to do was she wanted to be a dancer. But not only that, she had come up with this most amazing performance where she would be performing dance, and she would be also doing these monologues, and there would be these visuals behind her. And when she described it, it brought me to tears. It was like, oh my God, that is so inspiring. I would do that. You have to do this. I need to come see this that you're going to do. I said, if you follow through with this, I guarantee you success. I guarantee you. By the end of that phone call, she had talked herself out of it. She said, I'm too old. Nobody wants that. Nobody wants to see me do that. What I need to do is I need to go work and do some kind of online, SEO stuff. And then when I make enough money, then maybe I can do it in my spare time. And to the end of the phone call, I was saying, please don't. Please don't walk away from yourself. Please. We need you. And she wouldn't do it. At the end of the phone call, she just said, no, you're wrong. You're wrong. Nobody loves me that much. The world won't accept me. Nobody will take me for who I am. The world doesn't want to see me at my best. I can only do this in my spare time. I'm too old. And she hung up the phone. And it was heartbreaking. Because, of course, I saw myself in her. And it was so like, oh, my God. That the self-hatred and the self-deprecation. Now, I didn't understand it so much at the time, but now I do. This is obvious came from her mother. At some point, her mother told her some kind of codependent message that said, if you don't stay here and take care of me and my craziness, you won't be loved. Don't go off and become a dancer. Even if mom's dead, she goes off and marries some narcissistic guy, has a kid, and spends her whole life trying to please this guy and raise a kid she didn't necessarily want. And then when she's finally old enough, the last few years in her mind that she thinks she can pull this off, she gets right to the edge of the cliff and she says, no, I'm not going to do it. I'm just going to, no. And what she doesn't realize is that her nervous system was telling her, if you do this thing, if you create this amazing, beautiful work of art that the world needs, if you create that, mom will hate you. And your nervous system says, if mom hates you, you're going to die. So you don't understand when you come up against that block, it's because your nervous system thinks that if you push past the block, if you push past your fears, if you accomplish what you want, your nervous system thinks it's going to kill you. Now, consciously, you don't think that. Consciously, that doesn't make any rational sense. Rationally, you know you're not going to die if you go and write that song or build that business or move to that other country. You know it's not going to kill you. But your nervous system is telling you these messages that become so intense that you can't override them. And then you take actions that are destructive. My brother's nervous system, if he's still alive, tells him he has to live on the street or he'll die, which is ridiculous. Now, verbally, he's not going to say that, but all the times that he was given a place to live and given a path out, he walked away from it and sat on the street and said that his nervous system told him, no, the way that you need to survive is to sit on the street with an empty coffee cup and panhandle. That's how, God is going to love you. That's how mom is going to love you. So, now you understand what is happening is that there is a block in your nervous system that honestly believes that if you do that thing, it'll kill you. And what's happened is that you have conflated mom's love with being mediocre, being miserable, being lonely, being in a dysfunctional relationship, being sick, being, whatever it is, you fill in the blank. Your nervous system has got the message that in order for you to survive, which means getting mom's love, you're going to have to be this thing. And you consciously, your nervous system says, no, consciously, you can masturbate on this thought all you want. You can go to Zohar the Magnificent. You can sit on the edge of your bed and you can imagine your perfect reality all you want. You can build yourself up with feelings all you want. But when you actually, are forced with taking action, I'm going to stop you every time because I'm here to protect you. And if you take action, you become a successful person, you're going to kill your mother. And if you kill your mother, that means you're going to die. And it's weird, huh? So understand that when you are, the reason why it's so incredibly frightening, it's so incredibly painful. and you can't even figure out, why can't I take this action? Why can't I stay in this? It's because your nervous system believes that you're going to kill your mother. So guess what? Symbolically speaking, not really, symbolically speaking, you must kill the mother in your unconscious. You must murder her. And what that means is, when you take an action that you absolutely can't take, starting that business, creating that perfect piece of art, committing to that relationship that is healthy, walking away from that unhealthy relationship. When you do that, what it will mean, what it will signify to your nervous system, is that you will be murdering your mother, which is your survival. And you will sometimes have to come to that conclusion, that my mom programmed me to fail. And in order for me to get past this, I have to do the opposite of what she trained me to be. And that will feel like I'm killing her, which will feel like it's killing you. And you'll have to live through that. That's what Odin self-sacrifice meant. It's dying to yourself. Sacrificing yourself to yourself means being willing to murder the entrainment in your nervous system, which will feel like death. Listen, I got here a week ago, and in that week, not only did I get a cold, which doesn't make any sense, not only that, but I gave myself frozen shoulder again. And I got here and I went, oh my God, what the hell did I just do? And I put myself in a really messed up headspace, and it's going to take me a while to heal from that. Whether I'm going to stay here or not is up in the air. And as it turns out, I get to go back if I want to go back to Florida. My situation is still there waiting for me. Real simple. I don't, very simple. Just get back on a plane and I'll be good to go. I'll have a place to live on the beach. If something changes here, if by some miracle the law changes and I can stay longer, or there's some huge upheaval in the world state, like was last time with the pandemic, I'll get to stay here. Maybe I'll trip over my future wife, who's an Australian, who will want to marry me. Unless something like that happens, I'm going to get back on a plane and go back to Florida. But the fact is that I once again jumped off the cliff, and by doing that, I told my nervous system, I'm not going to stay limited. I refuse to do that, even if it feels like it's killing me, and I'm paying the price for it. I'm physically paying the price for it. I'm going to come out of it. I'll be okay. But I've gotten, I know how to do these things. I know how to face these impossible resistance within myself, and I have the tools. So that's what I'm here to share with you. Last thing before I talk about the tools, let me just share with you, this is also spiritually what's happening to the world. So everything I just described is what happens within normal 3D awareness. So even in normal 3D awareness, in order to be successful, if you've been programmed inaccurately, you're going to have to go through that psychological, symbolic murdering of your mother, which will feel like it's killing you. But what has happened when you read the Interdimensional Revolution, and when you watch my videos as we talk more and more about this, or if you do the interdimensional meditation or CE5, you will bump into this. The first thing that's happening with people when they do these interdimensional meditations and they connect with these higher dimensional beings, one of the first things that happens is they feel like they're betraying the human race. And so those of you, when you do the interdimensional meditation, you've talked about it, you feel fear. Like, I want to do it, but I'm really afraid. That's what your fear is. Because every time you connect to a higher dimension, you are psychologically, symbolically murdering the third dimension. You are psychologically murdering human society. You are revolting against 3D human society. I don't just mean the evil the evil archons that are ruling the world. I'm talking about just how 3D society works, even healthy 3D society. This is why people have come to the conclusion that aliens are evil demons. This is why our evil archon, elite have created the false alien abduction scenario, and why we buy into it. Because on an unconscious level, if we go beyond 3D, we're murdering our mother, the matrix. The word matrix means mother. And so when you break out of the 3D matrix, what is happening? You are murdering the mother that supports your 3D reality. So make no mistake, moving beyond 3D is an Odin type of scenario. You will have to die to yourself. To do that, it means that you will have to do something that you think will kill you. And you will feel as though you are betraying not only your nervous system, not only your introjected mother, but you will feel as though you are destroying and killing the human race. Of course, you're not. But that's how serious that is. And that is now the new frontier, spiritual reality. So I encourage you to do all of the things. If you do the lightning qigong, you will be given power. You will have a connection to the universe that will go beyond your nervous system. And if you have the guts and you take action, you will be able to lean on that power, that lightning power. You'll have access to Chi, Kundalini, and the heretofore unknown lightning center power of the heart. You will be able to tap into that, and you will be able to know, yes, I am scared to death, but I am choosing to rebel against what I thought was keeping me alive. And you'll go through that pain and you'll survive. The Interdimensional Revolution, the book, as well as ETs Are Coming to Earth, will give you a better understanding of consciously what you are fighting against. If you do the Interdimensional Meditation course, which is connected to the Lightning Qigong, you will be given tools, my specific techniques that I use to connect and communicate with these higher dimensional beings. Listen, I won't kid you. It's tough. It's scary. It's challenging. I wish it were, the way Zohar the Magnificent makes it seem in the those seminars where you just sit on your ass and feel good and good stuff will come to you. I wish it were that simple. I honestly do, because if it did, I would do it. But it's not. We have to break through not only our internal programming that our mothers may have inaccurately programmed into us. We have to go against our nervous system, which really honestly believes it's trying to keep us alive. But on top of that, if we want to get to 5D, we then have to murder our connection to what we believe is three-dimensional reality, our spiritual mother, the goddess that we've been worshiping, the 3D reality. We're going to have to upgrade that to a 5D mother, which means we're going to feel like we're killing, murdering, and betraying our mother on the deepest level. So the good news is that it's worth it. Success is worth it. The spiritual empowerment that you get is absolutely worth it. And to have your psyche reformatted, which is what these beings do more than anything else. What these beings do, these fifth dimensional beings and higher, what they do is they reformat your internal nervous system avatars, the introjects, the mothers. Your mother will no longer be your physical mother. It'll no longer even be the 3D matrix. It'll be something even greater than that. And when we all do that, all of reality is going to shift up to the next level. All right, so I hope I didn't overwhelm you, and I hope I explained to some of you why that block is there. I am here in all of my capacity to help you do that. There's, do the whole breath, the the summoning the immortals qigong, that's free. You can do all of those things, all of the qigong, the free stuff is there for you. If you want to support me, keep me living, not living on a box on the street, you want to help me keep making these videos, and you want to get the higher level, the highest level. I'll say this: the lightning qigong, in my opinion, and nothing has shown me that is different, the lightning qigong is the elite. It is the highest level, most powerful, most evolved energy practice in the history of the human race. That's a huge, grandiose statement, but I absolutely believe it. And it's not because of anything that I did. All I did was I just downloaded what was given to me. And I researched all these different spiritual practices, and I found the most powerful ones, and I learned how to combine them together. I guarantee you, you will not find what I teach anywhere else on the planet or in history. And I believe it's here to help us do exactly what I just talked about. To have the strength to murder the old system and create a new one, give birth to a new one. I'll stop babbling now. The links are here. Check out all of them, and I encourage you to take the risk. What have you got to lose? If you go to thunderwizard.com and subscribe to the Warrior 90-Day Challenge, which will give you access to all of the stuff underneath it, you can unsubscribe whenever you want. You've got nothing to lose. I strongly recommend it. You can't quite afford it. You know what? Splurge for this month. Borrow a couple of bucks. It's not impossible to do. You're afraid? Great. It's okay to be afraid. Go ahead and take action anyway. I guarantee you your entire life will change if you follow my directions to the letter. Nobody who's followed my directions has not had a complete, total transition of their life. And everything I learn, I'm going to be sharing with you as I go along. So that's it. I've talked enough. I wish you guys all the best. Thank you for your patience. My apologies for being out of touch. I had my own, Odin experience the past week. It looks like I'm coming back. I should be okay, and I'll be back making more videos. But that's it, guys. I wish you all the best. Go check out the books. Talk to you next time.